It's that time again. Late night crypto talk. Bitcoin Brandon here. We're going to get started in a second. What's going on, Calvin? Mr. Gutierrez. Brad Thiede. Get that haircut on, man. Christy Snotty. That's what I like. Three-way multitasking. Late night crypto talk. Wednesday night. Got some new information for you guys. As a disclaimer, I am not a licensed financial advisor to be dispensing financial advice. I read the news, I share my opinion, I give some suggestions. Then it is up to you to decide what you want to do with that information and make an adult decision. What's going on, Diane? 4 rules to success in the crypto space. Number 1, crypto education. Number 2, never invest with money you cannot afford to lose. Number 3, always get your return on investment first. Don't get greedy. And finally, where do you see yourself 3 months, 6 months, and a year from now? What's the vehicle that's going to help you make that happen? Stay focused. Do not get distracted. There's a lot of distractions in the crypto space. Remember, you have limited resources, and by following these rules does not guarantee you success, but you at least will be able to limit your risk. So let's go ahead and get started on a Wednesday evening, late night crypto talk. We're going to start again with international geopolitical news. We're going back to Venezuela, and why should we care? Because Venezuela is the first nation on the planet to introduce a state-backed cryptocurrency, and every nation is watching to see how they do it. They're being sponsored by the Russians, who will be next when they launch their crypto ruble. The United States already has plans for the Fed coin that will be coming soon as well. So let me put this link in the chat box. All right. Nicolas Maduro, that's the president of Venezuela, creating more use cases for Venezuela's oil-backed Petro, the crypto. Venezuela's supposed national cryptocurrency, the Petro, seems to be gaining momentum with each passing day. Despite all odds, the nation's #1 citizen, is that what they call the president? Is the #1 citizen? Don't give Donald Trump any ideas. What's going on, Lashana? So Nicolas Maduro, the nation's #1 citizen, has now hinted that state-owned firms are free to carry out transactions using the digital currency. What's the sense of having a virtual currency if it can't be used as legal tender? The Venezuelan leader is doing everything within his power to make sure his digital currency initiative, the Petro, survives by all means. According to reports, citizens of the South American nation will be able to pay with the oil-backed cryptocurrency when purchasing goods and services, including real estate, in the coming weeks. They're fast-tracking this. You guys, this just came online in January. In an article published by the 4F newspaper, the Petro pre-sale event attracted over 200,900 investors from 133 countries, except the United States because Donald Trump banned us from being involved. The country's tabloid also reported that the nation's president is highly optimistic that Petro will solve Venezuela's challenges. In his words, Petro came to revolutionize the global crypto economy. Stop right there. What have we been saying? This is the president of a country that is calling this revolutionize the global crypto economy. If reports are anything to go by, the Petro could go into full use from April 20th, 2018. As such, citizens will be able to use the Petro as legal tender in all kinds of financial transactions all over the nation. In March 2018, further reports emerged that the Asamblea Nacional, a faction of the divided Venezuelan government, released a statement that the national cryptocurrency was illegal and unconstitutional. The lawmakers, who have always been antagonists of Maduro's policies, have stated that the current administration created the Petro in a bid to mortgage the nation's oil deposits illegally. Despite the bombardments, the Petro seems to be forging ahead without an atom of fear, as the president has informed the Interior Minister, Nestor Reveral, to make sure all international transactions within the PTR goes through the nation's autonomous service of registries and notaries to ensure transparency. Hold up a second. When did this article come out? April 11th. That's today. He's not updated. He makes a statement that the Venezuelan parliament has been against Maduro on this, and that's true. However, there's been new information. I just did this 2 days ago, that the parliament voted for it now. They're all for it. This is another example on why crypto education is so important. Because you can't always trust news sources that's reporting on things to get the facts straight. So although that statement was true, it was true as far as this article up to 2 days ago. Things have changed in the last 2 days. The government is united behind this. You understand what I'm talking about here? That's like when people say, why is cryptogenics so important? You know, cryptogenics, the 45 lessons is not what makes it so valuable. It's the continuing education afterwards. Because if you went through crypto education last year and you stopped in October and you thought you were an expert, today, guess what? You're obsolete. You always have to be educating yourself. So in just the last 2 days, information has changed. The entire government is united by this now. All right, so let me continue. I just had to stop there when I read something that I knew was not correct. All right, notably, oh, what's that, Ron? People spoke to my boss. All right, good deal, good deal. Notably, all state-owned companies, such as the PDVSA oil company, will soon be able to create their Petro wallets to enable them to charge for exports in PTR. In essence, in addition to accepting Petros as a payment method for its oil and gas exports, PTR is also a legal tender for transactions involving Venezuela's other exported natural resources such as steel, aluminum, petrochemicals, cocoa, you guys know what that is, and others. The Cuatro F also reported that the Central Bank of Venezuela was authorized by decree to accept petrols for the export of gold from small mining and handcrafted items. Furthermore, all private firms can pay their company taxes with PTR, that's the Petro, including all previous debts they owe the state. President Maduro has fired back at all critics of the Petro, including the United States government. The president stated, "I ask the world for respect. We do not get involved in the financial initiatives of other countries, whether they are powerful or not. Why does Venezuela have to be persecuted for trying to create a source of financing for its development, its happiness, for peace and economic expansion? The Petro will continue its course, and nobody will be able to stop our cryptocurrency." You know, I can't criticize that. I can't say he's wrong. Everything he did up to that point, oh yeah, you can criticize. He's corrupt as hell. But using the Petro to get his country out of this financial crisis, that's smart. If you're looking out for the best interest of Venezuela. If you're looking out for the best interest of the United States, then the answer is no. So as it stands, the Petro remains king in Venezuela, even though its reign may be temporary. With the presidential elections coming up on May 20th, you know what? I have a prediction here. Maduro's going to win by a landslide. With the presidential elections coming up on May 20th, the author firmly believes the continuous existence of the Petro coin is dependent mainly on the outcome of the polls. I don't agree with that. I think the Petro will still move forward even if he loses, because the people are now relying on it as their lifeblood. I think that's why Maduro is trying to fast track its use in everything in the economy. The people don't want to starve, and their local currency is no longer working. The only thing they have is Bitcoin and the Petro. If Maduro gets reelected, the Petro will undoubtedly gain more adoption and may likely hit the moon. On the other hand, if the ruling party loses at the polls, that could be the end of the road for what has been a provoking crypto journey. I don't agree with that one. But that's crypto for you. You've got different viewpoints. Doesn't mean one is right or one is wrong. It's just a different viewpoint. Good evening, Elizabeth. All right, and the last article for the evening. The Caribbean. Caribbean nations introduce crypto payments in the travel industry. Huh. So I can pay for a cruise with crypto? Let's see what this has to say. The Caribbean Tourism Organization is going to introduce cryptocurrency payments for tourism services and products offered in the region. In partnership with a local company, CTO wants to implement crypto-based merchant applications in the travel industry and other related sectors. Another goal is to further integrate the region's economies through more cryptocurrency transactions. Trying to adequately address economic and financial issues, Caribbean governments and businesses are increasingly turning towards cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. The region has been experiencing sluggish growth and high debt rates for some time. In recent years, large U.S. banks have been withdrawing capital from the Caribbean markets, and their de-risking policies have created a deficit of banking services. Local banks and authorities have been accused of aiding money laundering practices and are dealing with restricted access to foreign exchange reserves. All this has affected Caribbean economies, which are heavily dependent on tourism and international trade. The Caribbean Tourism Organization has become the latest regional institution to embrace cryptocurrencies. You know what? Let me stop right there, because I've taken tourism in the Caribbean. It's almost like, anybody ever taken one of the Greek cruise tours from Venetia down into, or from Italy down into the Mediterranean? Then you get into Corvo and oh my goodness, I can't believe I forgot the names of the islands. Anyways, all those Greek islands. One thing that I noticed, and it was the same in Jamaica, if you follow the basic tour route that they tell you to, you really don't realize that you're in a different country. I mean, every island to me was almost the same because they all had the tourist booths set up right on when you get off the boat. You don't really get to experience unless you get lost in the city. You know, you kind of got to get away from it to get the full experience. That's one thing I hated in taking the guided tour in Jamaica. Never doing that again. Can't go 5 feet. Anyways, let me get back to a topic here. The Caribbean Tourism Organization has become the latest regional institution to embrace cryptocurrencies, local news outlets reported. CTO has reached an agreement with the Barbados-based blockchain company Bit Inc. to facilitate the implementation of more efficient payment processes for tourism products and services. A memorandum of understanding has been signed in order to help foster broader economic participation in community-based tourism and related sectors. Through the use of cryptocurrencies, the partners intend to implement efficient and cost-effective digital payment products and services in the region's most important industry. The Caribbean aims to fully examine the advantages offered by the new financial technology, said CTO's Secretary General Hugh Riley, quoted by Caribbean News Digital. He believes blockchain services have the potential to advance the objectives of specific programs and activities within the tourism sector. The CTO has a responsibility on behalf of our members to fully explore these possibilities. I agree with that. Tourism is the single largest contributor to the Caribbean economy. It is absolutely critical to every single Caribbean nation's well-being and development. We see this as a very natural and necessary association, said BIT's CEO Rowdon Adams. We know how transformational our technology can be. Says cryptocurrencies offer Caribbean nations the opportunity to increase availability of financial services. A large portion of the local population lacks basic access to the banking sector. That's another thing, guys. One thing that cryptocurrencies is allowing is the 2 billion people around the world who do not have access to banks or bank accounts or debit or credit cards. We call them the unbanked population. Now cryptocurrencies gives them access to something they've never had access to before. Control of their own money, their own finances without needing to go through a bank or a third party. The biggest economies in the region like Jamaica and Barbados rely on import-export of goods and services and need to finance these operations. Cryptocurrencies can be used in both international and regional trade and will help reduce foreign exchange costs. Authorities and businesses believe crypto payments could also increase profits while decreasing consumer costs. Caribbean nations are taking steps towards cryptocurrency adoption on several other fronts. Earlier this year, the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank announced it's considering issuing a new crypto. Looks like they're creating their own thing here, called the Digital Eastern Caribbean Dollar, DXCD. 8 governments and economies are behind the bank and the crypto project. Okay, my question is this pre-mined? Is it controlled by this bank? Is it centralized or decentralized? Those questions is very important. But they've got 8 governments behind it. The decision to move closer to a cashless society is in keeping with our overall development strategy and also that of the ECCB, Donaldson Romeo, Premier of Montserrat, told the Gleaner in February. Recently, the government of Antigua and Barbuda, didn't Barbuda get wiped out by, was it Maria? Or the one before Maria? Irma. I think it was Irma or something. I wonder how they have rebuilt, because I thought that entire island got wiped off the map. Considered uninhabitable. Anyways, the government of Antigua and Barbuda announced its decision to set up a cryptocurrency exchange. The island nation hopes to generate revenue for its treasury by facilitating crypto trade for a fee. Officials in St. John's want to bring together buyers and sellers of cryptocurrency, but also bring Antigua into the game. Placing the country on the cutting edge of the new system of creating wealth has been declared as a priority. Alright, it's the domino effect around the world. You're starting to see nation after nation start crumbling down to crypto, adding it in one way or another into crypto. So this is interesting. So alright, that's all for the news for today. In a little over 30 minutes from now, those of you who are realizing, you know what? Yes, I do need crypto education. At the top of the hour at 9 p.m. Eastern tonight, we are having a live Cryptogenics presentation with co-owner Stephen McCullough on cryptogenics.net 30 minutes from now. I can't stress to you the importance of crypto education. It has saved me a lot of money. You know that old saying, trial and error? And of course, you're going to learn more by actually going out there and going out there and applying your knowledge. But I would rather be able to learn first than have a $200,000 lesson because I didn't know something and I lost all my money. That's the hard way of learning. Get educated first. Get back with whoever invited you. Hop on that. And I'm going to tell you another thing. I consider myself somewhat smart. I am educated. And I do follow world events and politics. And one thing that I have recognized is that we are in the midst of the next industrial revolution. It's taking place right now. That is going to shape the future of humanity. You think I'm lying? Go back and look at the last one that took place. Watch on the History Channel a series called The Men Who Built America. Standard Oil, you got the Rockefellers, the J.P. Morgans. You check those guys out. That's nothing compared to what is taking place right now. This is the greatest economic shift in the wealth in the human history for the most amount of people. Blockchain technology is the greatest invention since the internet and is as impactful as agriculture was when it was introduced to humanity. If you want to not only survive but thrive the rest of this century, you got to think about it. Time's moving fast. We're already almost halfway through April. I was born in 1976. Man, that sounds like a long time ago. 41 years ago. Do you know how much history and things have changed over the last 41 years? It is night and day. What life was like in 1976 compared to what life is like right now, technology-wise, is night and day. And if you want to survive and thrive the next century, it is mandatory that you know and understand and have a basic understanding of cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. Whether or not you want to use it to make money, you need to know this. An ignorant man goes nowhere and will always be exploited. Knowledge is power. For me, this knowledge and information is more important than my son's college education he's going through right now. Which is why I'm forcing my kids to learn this. Even my 10-year-old. And he likes to fight with me on it. But he will understand when he's older. And he'll look back and he'll thank me for forcing him to understand and learn this stuff at an early age. It's here, ladies and gentlemen. And you have the power to educate yourself. Don't just look at this and watch it pass by like a spectator. You cannot afford to. And the wake-up call will be when the United States economy collapses again. That'll be a wake-up call. Oh, well, I wish I did something in 2017 and 18. I wish I did something back then. Is it too late for me to get started now? Some of you guys blow me away. But you got to do, I guess, what you got to do. So, 30 minutes from now, cryptogenics.net. We have over 2,000 members in less than a week. Our first week in business. We are in over 60 countries. We have members over 60 countries in a week. What do you think we're going to do in our second week? I will be in London next week for the Blockchain Expo. Yes, I invest in my education. I'm not going there to hang out and party. I'm not going there just because I want to see London. I can care less. I'm going there because all of the great minds and who's who of Bitcoin world is going to be there. I want to know what's going on. I want to know what's coming down the pike in the future. I want to know what things I can invest in. I want to make some connections and network. Then I'm going to Sweden from there, where we're launching Cryptogenics Sweden. On April 21st, then we have an event in Houston also on April 21st. We've got people flying in from Germany to Houston for that event. Then we got Tampa, May 18th, Tampa, Florida. Then we got our launch event in Vegas in August. I don't have a date set for that yet. You think we're playing with this? No. 7 figures, baby. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not playing with this. So you're either going to be a participant or a spectator. Either way, this is happening. I wish you all the best. See you in 30 minutes with Stephen McCullough. Bitcoin Brandon out. I'll be back tomorrow morning for early morning crypto talk. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Cryptogenics.